guys, it's Josh. Today we're going to talk about the HVLP gun. Now, unlike the airless gun, the HVLP gun uses air to atomize the paint. So, the way this works is this is connected to a tube and the air comes up through the gun and is split at this junction here. Half of the air goes down into the cup, creates pressure, which pushes the paint back up through here, and the other half of the air goes straight through the gun and comes out these two little holes, which therefore atomize the paint and create the spray. Hey guys, now we're going to talk about how to adjust this cup gun. First and foremost, we have the air valve, this top right valve right here. Now, you will be able to find a little arrow here, and when that's lined up to maximum, that means you have maximum air coming out of the tip. That's usually how we want to spray. Now, when we clean this, we want to completely turn it to the left, and that will cut off all air, and this will become a squirt gun. It's the best way to clean the cup gun when we're rinsing it out with water, thinner, any other solvent. Secondly, we have paint flow, which is the bottom valve here. Now, when this is all the way twisted to the right, you have absolutely no paint coming up out of the cup. This is pretty much just going to be an air blaster. Now, when we turn it to the left, we'll start introducing material up through the cup gun and out through the tip. So, depending on how much material you want coming out of the tip, we can play with this. Just remember, all the way to the right is cut off, and all the way to the left is absolute maximum. All right, so now let's talk about how to remove the kettle. It is this top lever right here. It releases the cup, and as you can see, we now have the cup and we have the gun. To load this, we're gonna go ahead, line it up with the latches, connect it, and then twist this to the right. Once again, twist it to the left, comes undone, line it back up, twist it to the right. Secondly, once we take this off, you can see the pickup. The bottom lever changes the direction of this pickup, twists it backwards and it twists it forwards. As you can see, when we're spraying, we want to go ahead and make sure that this is pointing in the direction in which our material is on the kettle. So if we're spraying downwards, we want to make sure that this is facing down. If we're spraying upwards, we want to make sure that it's facing up. One really important thing about these cup guns is that you can never spray completely down. You can never spray completely up. What'll happen is it'll create an air bubble in the kettle, which hence will allow no material to come through the pickup. So just to reiterate, we can spray flat, we can spray at an angle down, or we can spray at an angle up. We're now going to talk about the air cap on the HVLP gun. When you take the cap off, you can see you have three parts in here. You've got the spring, you have the spray tip, and you have the cap. So when adjusting these parts and putting them back together, on the spring, you're gonna see a little notch at the very, very top. Here, you'll see the cutout. It's extremely important that this gets lined up correctly, top to bottom. It's what allows the spring to load back into the gun. After that, we're gonna put the spray tip back on the cap. Let's see if we can get this little guy in here, and then load it back onto the gun. You don't want to strip any threads, so always be careful. Now we're going to talk on how to adjust the spray pattern on this HVLP gun. Once the cap, the tip, and the spring are all in place, all you need to do is push to adjust the spray pattern. Now, first, we'll start with it perpendicular at an angle. This creates a circular spray pattern. Let's push once more. This is important. Don't strip it. You have to push it down against the spring. This now creates a horizontal spray pattern. Lastly, to the side, creates a vertical spray pattern. Hey guys, now we're going to talk about troubleshooting this cup gun when you can't get either air or paint to flow out of the tip. Firstly, you have to understand that whenever you pull the trigger, a small needle depresses. Whenever you release the trigger, the needle comes back into place. Now, sometimes paint will accumulate right here, right where the needle is, and that will keep that'll keep pressure from coming out. So if that happens, you can clean this with a little wire brush or some solvent, and that's the first way to troubleshoot this gun. Secondly, sometimes your tip gets clogged. As you can see, there's very, very small fine circles on the back side of this. What happens is the air comes through here, circulates, and it pushes the paint out into a nice spray pattern. Now, if these little holes get blocked, your spray fan will get messed up. The best thing to do is either to soak this in some solvent, some lacquer thinner, some paint thinner, or take something very, very fine, such as a guitar string or a single piece of wire to unclog the holes. Don't go in there with a wire brush. Don't go in there with some sort of, putty knife or something. That could potentially damage the tip. The last thing is the check valve. This little tube is where paint comes up from the kettle to the tip. Now sometimes, as you can see, I've taken a separate one here. Sometimes paint comes up and gets into this little valve and clogs it. What you have to do is remove this from the tube, unscrew it, and check your valve. This valve is a tiny little piece of circular plastic, as you can see, very, very small, very delicate, and all you need to do is either make sure that check valve is clean, or better yet, replace it with a new one. They're cheap. You should always have a couple in your toolbox. Place it back. Screw it. And put it back to the paint tube. Those are the 3 ways to troubleshoot this cup gun.